All right, good morning everybody and happy Friday. It looks like there might be a little bit more delay than usual today in between like what I see and what you see and getting comments and feedback and stuff, which is a shame because I really wanted this to be super interactive today, and it is anyway, it's more challenging when there is a delay. But anyway, welcome. Happy Friday. I see folks are starting to pour in, and we are gonna go ahead and get started because I always tend to talk so much in the beginning, and I want us to get back to our Friday. I want to talk forever, but as usual, we have got so many good things happening. So, so Melissa says, was tricky finding the link to the live video. I was a little rushed this morning. I'll tell you why when we get to the exercise. I was a little rushed this morning, so I didn't get the email out. Usually I send an email Friday morning with the agenda and the link to join us and like all of that stuff. And I didn't get that sent out this morning. And so I'm hoping that people will just find us from the group. Speaking of the group, this is our weekly live stream. I am Margie Remmers-Davis, creator of Fast and Easy QBO. And this is the live stream that we have every week. Sorry, just got to turn on my air here. That we have every week inside of our free Facebook group called the QBO Gym Locker Room. So the QBO Gym Locker Room is your spot. It is the only spot, actually, on the entire internet for hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. That is what we are all about. Hands-on practice, hands-on practice, hands-on practice. So when you join the locker room, you get a free Getting Started course, okay? So the Getting Started course teaches you how to get your free QuickBooks Online accountant account. This is different than the account that business owners use, and we teach you how to get it, why it's different, how to use it. We teach you terminology and navigation, workflows. You're going to learn all of that. And you're going to learn how to access the sample company, which is where we access which is where we do most of our exercises. Not all of our exercises, but most of our exercises are inside the sample company. And so we teach you how to access that. And of course, we give you hands-on exercises for using it. So, anyway, so that is the free Getting Started course. Also, as a member of the locker room, you have access to over 100 free exercises, again, to get you that hands-on practice using QuickBooks Online. Now, people are always asking, they join and then they're like, where are the free exercises? So I always like to point out there is this featured section of the Facebook group. There's a tab that says featured. If you're on your phone, you may have to click that little hamburger up in the upper left-hand corner, but you should be able to see prominently the featured section and this welcome post. This welcome post was also emailed to you when you joined. If you can't find it, then make sure and reach out to support@fastandeasyqbo.com because we want to know like what's happening with your email. If you typed it wrong or it's bouncing or like whatever happened. So we want to make sure that you're getting emails because like I said, usually I didn't today, but usually I send out the agenda for this meeting. It has links and all that good stuff, okay? So in there are the free hands-on exercises. And then we have our weekly live streams, which are Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern, which is what you're on here. If you're on with us live, you're already in the locker room. This little intro is for those of you who are watching the recording on YouTube later. And on our weekly live stream, we go over a free exercise of the week. The exercise of the week comes from our subscription product. So this is, I told you about all the free stuff. Now this is the paid stuff. It is an opportunity it comes for the exercise of the week comes from the QBO Gym. The QBO Gym is a full year and actually almost 2 years of experience and practice using QuickBooks Online in a simulated environment. So when you join the QBO Gym, you actually get to be a bookkeeper for a fictitious business owner for an entire year. And everything that you do during that year is recorded in your Booksmatch profile. Okay, so your Booksmatch, everybody who has any of our courses gets Booksmatch. It's just your dashboard to access your courses. But if you have the QBO Gym, then you get all of this cool stuff, which is us tracking all of the skills that you are doing as you go through the QBO Gym. So you can see, so I picked Barry today, happens to be our number one person of the day. It changes all the time. And Barry has verified 371 skills by actually using QuickBooks Online. And if you want to see what those were, you can click down. We have the skills grouped into these 10 skill groups. And so if we wanted to see how Barry earned those troubleshooting skills, you can see that he worked on 3 bank feed errors and they found a reconciliation discrepancy, problems like that. Okay. And then we have our group comparison where you can see how you are doing. You are the solid line or the person that we're looking at. So this is Barry in this case, the solid line compared to everybody else in the group. Now we tracked this. We developed this because we realized that outside of just our little education world, people would want to know how good a bookkeeper is in order to hire them. And so we track all of these skills. We specifically track 3 particular metrics. The first is knowledge. We want to see the breadth of knowledge. This is basically how many, not just how many exercises, because some exercises have multiple skills on them, but like the breadth of experience that you have in QuickBooks Online. And then we have consistency, which I'll talk about in a minute, and then speed, which is it doesn't have to do with how fast you got through the exercise, but how many skills you got to do in a week. So the reason that we keep track of your speed is because we don't want people who are new to be disadvantaged compared to somebody who's been around a long. Now, I don't know how long Barry's been with us, but it's possible that he's been doing it since the gym came to be. And so he's naturally going to have a lot more knowledge that he has confirmed than a person who is new. So a person who's new, we want to give them, if they're like moving quickly through the exercises, we want to give them recognition for that. And that's why we track speed. However, the most important exercise or the most important thing that we track is your consistency. How often are you improving your skills? How often are you upskilling? How often are you learning new things in QuickBooks Online? Now, if you just have the QBO Gym and you're just working through it, your consistency is always going to be high. But eventually, you'll get to a point where you've done everything. And so that's why we have exercise of the week. The exercise of the week is actually a separate course in your dashboard that is unlocked when you reach 250 points. The reason we unlock it at 250 points is because you don't have to until when you first join, there's tons of stuff that you could be working on. You don't need it until, you're much further along. But the reason we unlock it at all is because so many people want it because we go over them and are like, oh, I want to do that again. I want to do that again. Okay. Now, everything that you do, as I mentioned, is tracked in that in Booksmatch. So if you are an active member of the QBO Gym, then you want to make sure and use the link that you see here to do the exercise. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about refund receipts. Okay, so you want to click this, and then once we're done with it, you're going to click this to make sure it's done. Those two things are what give you your credit. So if you're not a member of the gym, Joel, my right-hand man, is going to post the link in the Facebook group, or not in the Facebook group, in the chat, so that you can follow along. If you're watching this recording on YouTube, the only way to get it is to be a member of the locker room. If you are in the locker room and you're watching this live, you're gonna get the link here in just a minute. Okay. All right. So what we are talking about today, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Oops, wrong direction. Okay. So what we're going to be talking about today is refund receipts. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and click that. Joel, you can go ahead and put that in the chat. Amy Lynn, I am still doing Mindset Monday. I just forgot it this week. But thank you. Anyway, so Joel did put in the chat a link to the gym challenge, which allows you to access the gym for 5 days. You get to do just a month's worth of activity just to see, just to become familiar with how it works. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about refunds. Okay. Now I know that I promised that we would take a look at e-commerce, but I didn't have time. And I thought this was going to be shorter, and I wanted to go over some things with it that actually I'm not even going to be able to go over that. So I don't know. We'll see how much I can get through on this, because there's so much that I wanted to teach you about it. So anyway, so we're talking today about refunds. Okay. And I want you to be aware, we've talked before about credit memos, okay? Credit memo and a refund are very different things. Actually, let me make this bigger. Okay, so you're not distracted. Okay, because this is important, okay? So a credit memo is something that you would issue to apply payment against an invoice. Okay, so it can be an existing or a future invoice. Say you invoiced somebody, they didn't like it, and you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to, I'm not going to give you your money back. I'm just going to give you a credit toward your current invoice or future, whatever. I think an example in the sample company is that somebody got some pest control, but there were still pests, right? So maybe you'd give them a credit on that, on their invoice. Okay. So, but what we're talking about today is not a credit. It's actual money back. Okay. So if you're actually giving money back to a customer, how do you record that? Okay. And it's fairly simple, but there's a lot of nuance that I want to talk to you about it. Okay, so what we're going to do, so we clicked in the refund receipt. We have to have, here's my ridiculous scenario. Okay, so, and I named it ridiculously for a purpose, which you'll see. I didn't want to use the existing stuff in the sample company. You'll see why I kind of made this ridiculous example. Okay, so here we go. Amy had a ridiculous idea. Since Craig was already coming to trim the hedges, could he use his clippers to trim the feathers of the herons in her bird sanctuary? Craig didn't know, but he agreed to try. He charged her $123 up front to come out, and, well, it was a disaster. So he decided to give her a refund right away. Let's see how we would record this, okay? So some important things that we need to point out in this scenario, okay? This is a service that Craig has never offered before, okay? So that means what? We're going to have to create a new service in our product and service list, okay? So it's new, okay? The other thing to point out is that he charged her upfront, okay? So that means he already has the money. He's not invoicing and paying her later. So what do we use for that? We use a sales receipt. We use a sales receipt when we get the money at the same time that we make the sale, okay? So now he's going to give her a refund. He's not giving her credit on a future purchase. He's actually giving her her money back, okay? So let's see how we would record this. Okay, first step is we've got to be in the sample company. So here I am in my Fast and Easy QBO accountant account. I know that I'm in an accountant account because it says accountant up in the upper left-hand corner, because this is gray, and because it's separated into your practice and your books. Okay, so that's how I know that I'm in that's how I know that I'm in an accountant version. So I'm going to click this little gear icon up here. They're now calling it the settings cog. For years and years and years, it was the gear icon. Now they're calling it the settings cog. I don't know if it's going to take off, that new terminology. But we're going to, from here, select sample company. Okay. Now, when you load the sample company from within your QBOA account, you get logged out of your QBOA account, which is not a problem for us today, but it would be a problem if you were in the middle of taking your Pro Advisor test. The Pro Advisor test is open book, which means you can check the sample company, but don't do it because you will get logged out and you will lose your test. Okay, so you want to make sure if you're in our courses, we teach you how to have them both open the same company at the same time, but I always like to give you a warning so that everybody knows. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and hit continue, even though we're going to get logged out, and that's fine. All right, so here we are in Craig's Design and Landscaping Services, and boom, look at that, brand new today. Brand new today in the sample company, this little thing from Business Feed AI. I've drafted reminders for 2 overdue invoices worth $84. Isn't that interesting? I'm always curious as to what's going to happen when we get to the certification test. Because there's so many things. Intuit made a giant announcement this past week about this new thing called Intuit Enterprise. So Intuit Enterprise is like a package of not just QBO, but also MailChimp and tax stuff, and there's a fourth one, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, where you can get they have an account manager, and you can get this whole suite of things. And every time I see a new thing, I'm like, is this going to be on the test next year? It's going to be interesting. So is this new AI Intuit Assist thing going to be on here? I don't know. We're going to close it right now. In the exercise, I actually close it later because when I was building the exercise, it wasn't as gigantic as this, and I could get around it. So let's close it now just because it's annoying. Okay. All right. So here I am in the sample company. I'm going to go back to my exercise here and point out. So here's all the stuff I've talked about. Okay. Now let's get started with the exercise. First, you'll need to create a new service item. Craig wants to keep it separate from his other services. Guys, I had my collar in upside down, like tucked in. Nobody told me. Okay. I hope that if I ever come on this call with like spinach on my teeth, in my teeth or something, somebody will say that. They won't just like snicker to themselves. Anyway, Okay. So, so here we are, and so we're logged into the sample company, and if we create these exercises using a software called Scribe, okay, and if you are on Google Chrome and have the Scribe extension loaded, you'll see this little button that says Guide Me. So what I mean by that is if you go into your Google Store and you can go and you load this extension, it looks like this little icon. It says Scribe AI Documentation, okay? If you have that loaded, then when you are using the exercise, you can click this Guide Me button, and it will open up, boom, what they call Sidekick. And it looks different today. I swear, they keep changing it, and it's very annoying. But anyway, but here it is. So now I'm going to move this. Oh man, guys. So it used to be like last week, it was all in the same window. And when I drug one, I could drag the other. And now, oh my gosh, guys. Drives me crazy. Okay. You know, like as a business owner and educator, I'm always having to use I have to use different tools, and all the time they break, and then I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just need my own tool rather than using somebody else's tool that, so yeah, so who knows what changes may come. Speaking of changes, I have a big announcement at the end. So I forgot that I was going to actually make this big announcement in the beginning of the call, and now we're deep into, so I can't stop and make the announcement. But so now I'm going to do a big announcement at the end, guys. So hang on with me. All right. So now we have the exercise to our right and the exercise to our right and the sample company to our left. Okay. So we're going to follow it like this. The advantage of doing it this way is that now I can control the size of that, which I couldn't ever do the other way. Oh my gosh. They're always changing stuff on us. Not unlike QBO, who is also changing stuff on us all the time. Okay, so we're going to create a new service item. And we're going to do that, we're going to actually use the plus new button and click add product or service. This is the first time I've used this method. I don't know, a few months, maybe 6 months ago, they added this to the plus new button. So if I click plus new, I can click add product or service. It's interesting to me because actually it used to be years ago a question on the test about not products or services, but adding customers, and something about how do you add customers or whatever. And the plus new button was the wrong answer. And now they have added the ability to add customers and vendors and contractors and products and services right under the plus new button. So I guess so many people were trying to find it there that they've decided to just put it there. What I love about this is when you click add product or service, it goes right to selecting what kind of product or service you want. Whereas if you use the gear icon like we used to have to do, we'd go gear icon and then select products and service and then select, click new. So it has eliminated, if you use this option, it eliminates steps. Okay. So we are creating a service. Okay. All right. So here we are following along. In the name field, we're going to type Heron Haircuts. In the description, I have this in here, but it's not really that necessary. Not in here. Heron Haircuts. Okay. But then here is what I want to show you is the income account, okay? Because we're going to be talking, if you saw my post in the group, you know that we're going to take a deep dive into the debits and credits of what is happening with these two transactions. Because this is it's really important for you guys to wrap your head around. And what that means is I'm going to be doing a refresher on what we talked about when it comes to like how to remember debits and credits, how to like understand what's happening and why we use the terminology that we do. It took me forever to figure it out. Now that I figured it out, I love teaching it because now it's going to make so much more sense. Okay, so we want to track separately the income that has come from these hair and haircuts, okay? Tracking, when we say tracking separately, okay, there's a difference between tracking the product and service and tracking the income that comes from that product and service, okay? So what we are talking about now is we want to track the income. We're already tracking the product and service itself, but we want to track the income from this service separately, okay? So we don't want to just lump it in the services here. We want to say it's just part of the services. We want to know exactly how much from these hair and haircuts are going to be services, okay? So to do that, I don't want to get lost here. Okay, so because Craig wants to track the income separately, we'll create a new account, but we'll make it a sub-account of services. Okay, so here we're going to click this and select, I have to scroll up to select Add New. Okay. The chat is very silent today, guys. I hope it's not broken. Usually you guys are so chatty, but I haven't seen any chats come through in several minutes. So I hope you guys are okay. All right. So this is an income account. For the detail type, this is still service. Okay. But we're going to give it a name. We're going to call it haircuts. We're not going to call it hair and haircuts. We're going to call it haircuts. And then under description, let's see, there it goes. We're going to say it's a sub-account right here. And it's going to be a sub-account of services right here. Okay. Then we're going to click Save and Close. Okay. So now we have our income account as haircuts. Notice I didn't say hair and haircuts. I just said haircuts. Thank you, Jonathan, for letting me know that the chat is still working. I appreciate that. Okay. So, anyway, so typically services are not taxable. Okay. So typically it depends on there's the state and all of these rules and whatever. But I wanted for the purposes of our lesson today, I wanted to leave it taxable so you could see how the tax works, okay? All right, so that's all we need to do here, and we're going to say save and close. And we had to hit save and close twice. So one save and close was for the account on the chart of accounts, and the other save and close was for the product. Iris is saying, is it necessary to make a sub-account? The answer is, it depends. It depends on what it is that you want to track. In our case, for this scenario, we said we wanted to track the income from this product and service. We wanted to track it separately, okay? If you wanted to just lump all of the services together, like what income has come from these services, that's fine. That's a decision that you have to make with the business owner. Like, what is it that you want to see? For our scenario, we said in the beginning that we wanted to keep it separate, okay? And I wanted to keep it separate so that I could show you some things later, okay? All right. So now we have that. So now we're going to create the sales receipt for that initial purchase of the hair and haircut. Okay. So Alex is asking, can you show the full products and services list right there? I don't know what you want to see. You should be following along so you can see. Here's all the products and services that are set up. Here's the hair and haircuts. Okay. Notice This is actually interesting. Notice that hair and haircuts is not a it's not a sub service. Okay, so it's a separate service. We could have made it a sub service, but we didn't. We made it it's a sub account, meaning that income from that is kept separately. It's kept separately, but underneath services. That's not the case here, but I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. Okay, it says it is taxable. Yes, we're leaving it taxable for a purpose. Okay. All right, so let me find my exercise again. Okay, so now we're going to create the sales receipt for that initial sale. Remember that the important thing is that Amy paid upfront. Okay, so this isn't an invoice where we send her an invoice, she pays later. She paid upfront, which means we're going to use a sales receipt. Okay. All right, so we're going to click plus new. We're going to go to sales receipt. Under customer, we're going to select Amy's Bird Sanctuary. Okay. And let's take a look. The next thing we need to take a look at is the payment method. Okay. Can you see? Yeah. Okay. So the payment method, the ones that are already set up, there are a handful when you get a brand new account, there are a handful of payment methods that are already set up. Okay. You can add your own. The sample company has added a couple that are not in the very fresh account, but we're actually going to add a new one, which is ACH. Okay. Which means that it's going directly into Craig's account. Okay. So to do that, we're going to click Add New, and we're going to just type ACH. Now I want to point out right here this little thing that says this is a credit card. Okay. If I say this is a credit card, then if you have QuickBooks Payments, which by the way, you all should have QuickBooks Payments. QuickBooks Payments is and I don't have time again to go down this rabbit hole fully down this rabbit hole today, but QuickBooks Payment is the merchant services that Intuit provides. Okay, so you can accept payments. You can accept payments directly in QBO if you have signed up for QB Payments. As an accountant, you get it free. There's a small transaction charge if you're accepting credit cards. It's normal. It's like not a heinous number. And you can also accept ACH. So this is really, I'm going to take this off again. This is another super duper important concept. Okay. Is that when you're in QBO, you are recording transactions. You are not making transactions. I want you to be clear in your mind. When you pay a bill in QBO, you're not necessarily actually paying the bill. You're recording that the bill was paid. Now, QuickBooks does have a plug-in, like you can plug in a thing that allows you to make payments, out. They used to be connected to Melio. Now they have their own thing. Okay. QuickBooks Bill Pay, I think it is. So that's like sending money out. Okay. So that's so you can plug that in, but that's not necessarily what you're doing. What you're just doing is recording that it happened. The same is true for money coming in, okay? So you received money, you received a credit card money, you received Zelle or Venmo, or you got a check in the mail, or the customer handed you cash, whatever those things. Sorry, the cash and the checks was not a good example. But like the credit card, okay, so you're recording that the customer paid with the credit card. You're not necessarily charging the card at that moment, okay? In order to charge the card at that moment, you have to have QB payments, which is a thing you have to sign up for, and it's a legal contract, and they have like all this stuff, okay? So I just want to make sure you get in your brain, there's a difference between recording it in QBO and actually having it happen at the bank, okay? Now, let me go back to the exercise. If you have QB payments and you have the authority to actually take the money, that when you check this box, you can actually enter the person's credit card number and swipe the card, like take the money. That's what this is a credit card is for. It's also, I just learned this fairly recently from Alicia Katz-Pollock, that it also has to do with you're tracking your 1099 payments. Okay. Now here's just one little caveat, then I'll answer the questions that are coming up in the chat. And that is, if you have QB payments and you type ACH, when I click save, obviously it's not in the sample company, okay? Then there's a little box that opens up down here where you can enter the routing number and the bank account so that you can actually collect the money, okay? Notice they have this little link here, accept payments in QuickBooks. This is your link to apply for QB payments, okay? So that you can not just record it, but actually take the money, okay? Which I recommend that you do. All right, let's see. Iris says, is there a way to see the background of how it was debited and credited? Iris, you read my mind, because that is precisely what we are going to do today. Okay, Ellen asks, is there a fee for ACH? No, there is not. Patricia asks, with the option checks or bill payments, that's the same as what you're talking about, even if they select save and send. I don't quite understand the question. So checks can be ambiguous, because checks can be you're receiving a check, or it could be you're writing a check, okay? So, and bill payments is money out. So right now we're talking about money in, okay? So I don't quite understand the question. It's still not sending the check. No, there's no check. No, there's no check involved in what we're talking about. Michelle says, does that mean you can pay down a credit card directly through QuickBooks payments? I don't know if that's possible. QuickBooks payments is really for, payments and bill pay are different things. Bill pay is money out. So you're paying you're actually paying the bills. Money is transferring from your account to this other account. Okay. So that's bill pay. And then payments is receiving money. So in this case, they can receive the money via ACH, or they could receive the money via credit card or debit card if they are set up that way. QBO does charge 1% fee for ACH. I think that's only for, I think Lisa, that's only for, okay, well, again, let's separate out money received and money spent, okay? So if you are receiving money, if you're receiving money, I'm pretty sure there's no fee for ACH. If you are sending money, the new QB bill pay, I believe, does have an ACH payment. So, I'm sorry it's not getting, I'm sorry if we're all confused on that. Okay, Patricia, going back to the check. Like when we are filling out a check in QBO to record a check made out, that's not actually sending a check. It's just recording that a check was sent. Yes, although just to confuse things a little bit, you can also write checks in QBO. So yes, it's a similar concept. It's the concept of just recording it in QBO versus actually doing the thing. Okay, so yes. Can you use ACH for recurring payments for monthly bookkeeping fees? Yes, and you should, Billy. Yes, all of you should be doing this. All of you should sign up for QB payments and automatically charge your clients credit card or ACH every month to collect your fees. Don't rely on the business owner to pay you. Don't send out an invoice expecting them to pay it. No, this should be your common practice, that you set up a recurring payment, you charge their card every month. Yes, doing that. Yes. They charge me when I collect money from my clients. Really? That's interesting, Lisa. So Lisa's saying that they charge her when she collects money from her clients using ACH. That's interesting. I'll have to look. I rarely use it anymore, but I'll have to look. I have used it recently, so I'll have to check that. Interesting. Where do we find sign up for QB payments? That is under the gear icon. I can't show it to you here because I'm inside of a transaction, but if you go to company settings, then there's a payments tab you can sign. Everyone's saying that when they receive ACH payments, they're getting charges. That's interesting. I'm going to have to look into that more, guys, because that has not been my experience. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'm grandfathered in and maybe it's new, or maybe I just haven't been paying attention. But let's go back to the exercise because it's 11:45 and we have still a lot to cover. Okay? All right. Now that I've drilled in the ACH thing, okay? So we said ACH, so this is how she paid. ACH goes directly to checking, okay? So we're not going through undeposited funds, okay? And now, what did she pay for? Okay. Here we go. What did she pay for? She paid for that hair and haircut. Oops. Okay, hair and haircuts. And we're saying that it was $123 for Craig to risk his life. Okay, now, we noticed this last week. Was it last week? We noticed recently we were together and we did a sales receipt and we noticed that sales tax was not showing up on the screen. Okay, so even though here it is, the screen, and it says there, it's for some reason not putting in the total. It will, however, put in the total once we look at the transaction journal, and that's what we're going to do. Who was it earlier? Iris said we were going to look at the debits and credits. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to first click the black save button because we want to stay. If I hit save and close, it's going to save this sale receipt and exit me out. Okay, I want to save this sales receipt, but I want to stay on it. Okay. So we're going to click save. Okay, so now it's been saved. Woohoo, you can see up at the top, sales receipt has been saved. We're still on the same page. It still doesn't have the total for whatever reason. I don't know. What we're going to do next is we're going to look at the debits and credits that happened for this sales receipt. So in order to do that, we need to step back and talk again about debits and credits. Okay, now here's why I was late this morning, or behind, like why I didn't get the email out, because I spent all morning trying to figure out how. Last time I did debits and credits, we were on Zoom and I could use the whiteboard. We're not on Zoom today. And so I was like, how can I miss the days of having like an actual whiteboard or a blackboard or something, that I could like actually physically write on. And I spent all morning like trying to figure out what tools to use to, to do this. And then like in the 11th hour, the last minute, I realized, I could just do a piece of paper. So like I could just do, this is Pages, which is my word processor, because if you guys know, I'm like why isn't it getting bigger? I'm anti Microsoft. I am all about Mac products. And you can see this, right? You can see my screen, right? Okay, I think I have the right button. Yeah, oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So let's do a refresher on debits and credits. Now, okay. All right, good. Thank you. All right, so we're going to do a refresher on debits and credits. And I'm going to just remind you of what we talked about before. Now, I am going to create a separate video just for debits and credits to help people understand. We're going to go over it a little bit more quickly than we did last time. Okay, so we have the debit on the left side. We have the credits on the right side. Okay, and we're going to do right to left. How do you remember what a credit is? Okay, a credit, you can remember this because this is where the money came from. Okay, so where did the money come from? Credit, come. Where did it come from? And we used our acronym, right, of dealer. Okay, so the first place that our money is going to come from is the R. Okay, it's going to come from revenue, right? Or revenue, or it's basically, that's customer income. Okay, so revenue. It's going to come from equity, which means it comes from the owner, okay, or owners. Or it is going to come from, see, this is why I wish that there weren't a delay on the chat, because then, see, if you were in my classroom, I would just be like quizzing you and you guys would like be doing this. Okay, so then we have money that's borrowed. Okay, so if money is borrowed, whether that's a credit card, whether that's a loan, then that is considered a liability. Okay, now you're going to see when we talk about this in just a little bit, you're going to see that it's not always borrowed. We're going to hold on to that thought for just a minute. Basically, a liability means that you owe it back to somebody else. Okay, you owe it to somebody else. It's what you owe. Okay, actually, maybe I will say owed. Okay, instead of borrowed, because, well, interesting. Borrowed has the word owed in it. Ha ha ha. Okay, so these are the three types of credit accounts. Okay, then we have the debits, and the debit is where the money went. Okay, where did it go? What is the destination? Okay, and the destination is, so we have, remember, we're spelling dealer backwards, D-E-L. Okay, so one of the destinations is, it went to an asset. Okay, so an asset account is like a bank account, which is a liquid, meaning that money can go in and out at whenever, or it could go into a thing. So maybe it could go into inventory, or a piece of furniture or equipment, right? Or a computer. Okay, So that means the money that's fixed. The money doesn't go in and out. And then there's a whole spectrum in there, right? Like there's a spectrum from liquid to fixed, okay? But those are assets, okay? Then the money could go to an expense, which means that it goes to a vendor, or it could go back to the owner as a distribution or a dividend, okay? Now, these are what are known as the natural balance, okay? Natural balance means this is like the most obvious, easy thing, okay? So we've got revenue, equity, and liabilities on the right-hand side. It makes total sense, right? Where the money came from, where the money went, okay? So that makes total sense, okay? Where it gets confusing is when the money moves, okay? When it changes, like when it first comes in, when you make a sale, the money moves. I mean, it comes from the customer, goes in your account, easy peasy, that's obvious, okay? So on the credit side, okay, if you have an amount of money, okay, you make money from the customer, you collect $10, you collect $20, you collect $100, okay? That amount of money, when we're dealing with positive numbers, increases and decreases are obvious. Increase from 0 to 100, decrease from 100 down to 25, okay? That's obvious, okay? When you get on the debit side, which are negative numbers, now it's less obvious. Because when you have a negative number, and I want you to think back to when you were in school, I don't know how far back you went. I mean, I don't remember. I think we talked about this last time, 3rd or 4th grade, when you started learning about negative numbers, and negative numbers go away from 0. And when you increase a negative number, what direction does it go? It goes to the left, okay? If it increases, the number is getting more and more negative. It's going to the left, okay? But if you are reducing it, okay, then it's going to the right. All right, so now let's anticipate. Let's take a look now at our thing here. Okay, I'm going to take this off the screen for a minute. Before we check, let's take a look at this and guess, okay? So where is the money coming from? Where is the money coming from? I'm going to pause for a minute. Even though there's a delay, I'm going to pause for a minute and let you guess. The money is coming from where? There's only 3 answers. Is it revenue, equity, or liability? It's revenue. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes. It's right. Exactly. So the money is coming from right here. Okay, so we've got this. Let's see, how can I make it? I forgot. There we go. Oh, I made it white. Okay, so that is our income account. Do you remember, what did we call our income account? Do you remember? What do we call our income account? We called it something specific, and this is why I called it this, so that we could, good job, Alex, so that we could notice it on the screen here. Okay, let's see, should this be handwriting? Haircuts. Good. Okay, so we're going to have a credit to haircuts. Okay, now where did, everyone's getting it, good, 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 good. Okay, where did the money go? So the money came from haircuts, so we're going to see an increase in haircuts. And yes, Cynthia pointed out it's actually a sub-account of service. So let's include that. Service haircuts. So where did the money go? It went to the checking account. Good, which is what kind of an account? Bank, right. So we've got, right? So we should see a debit to the checking account and a credit to the haircuts account. Now, good, asset, good job. Now, what about that pesky sales tax? What about that pesky sales tax? Where did the money come from? The money, where did the money come from? Nope. Everyone is saying liability. It came from, everyone's saying liability. So the money came from the customer. Okay, the money came from the customer. So here's the interesting thing about sales tax is the sales tax is not an expense to the business. Sales tax is just us changing we're just taking it from the customer and sending it to the government on their behalf. Now we're legally required to do that. Like that's not an option for us. It's not an optional thing. So the money actually is coming from the customer, and it's going to, and where is it going to? Ultimately, it's going to go to the government, but where is it going to go to temporarily? Iris says I'm breaking up. Am I breaking up for everybody? I don't know what to do about that. Yes, pass through. We are an agent of the government. Exactly. So now it's going to go to that liability account. Okay? So look how confusing this gets. Look how confusing this gets. So it comes from the customer. Okay? So we're actually taking the money from the customer, but it's going to the liability account, but the liability account is on the right-hand side. It's a destination, but it's not over here. So this is where it can get confusing, and it's going to be even more confusing when we get to the refund, which is the whole point of this exercise. Okay? So when we talk about credits and debits, the reason that I mentioned the natural balance is that this is more the noun use of the term. So it's a credit, okay? When you think of like where did the money come from and where did it go, okay? We're not talking about the increase or decrease. Okay, so this is basically, when I say natural balance, that's where it starts. Okay, so we're going to see, when we go look at the journal, we're going to see the total amount come into the checking account. And I can't remember, it was $123 plus something or other. Okay, we're going to see that. And then here we're going to see the 123, Can I just say it was $9? Well, actually, let's just look at it. What is it? Let me pull this over. $9.84. So the checking is going to be, and it should be on, I don't know why QBO isn't doing the math for us, but. So we should see on the debit side, $123.90 plus $9.84, whatever that turns out to be. Is it $131.84? No, $132.84. Is that right? Okay. $9.84. Thank you, Kat. I think that's $132.84. $132.84. So we're going to see that on the checking. Then we're going to see on the haircuts, $123. And then we're going to see our liability account, which we don't know what that account is called. We'll find out when we look at it. We're going to see a liability of $9.84 on the credit side. It does the math, just not, we'll see that in a minute, Anna. Okay. All right. So this is what we're anticipating. Let's see if we're right. Okay. All right. So the way we look at it is we're going to click the More button right here, and we're going to go to the Transaction Journal. Okay. Let's take a look at it and make it a little bigger. We see a debit of $132.84. We have $123 credit here, and then we have $9.84. Okay? So technically, the money came from the customer, but we're not going to show that level of detail. Okay? So we're just going to have this money split up between this was for the product and service, or for the service of the haircut, and then here is what happened to, okay? So that's what we've got there. Now let's go back to our exercise, okay? All right, and I actually did not finish editing this, so I'll have to finish that. But here we go. Here's where I closed the pop-ups. Here's where we're showing the transaction journal of what's happening underneath. Okay? All right. Why is it called Board of Equalization Payable? Oh, yeah, because that's what it's called in California. And this is, the sample company is in California. Okay, now let's go on with our exercise. So I didn't finish editing it. The instructions are all here, but like my words of editing it aren't there yet. It's better than last week, guys. Last week, oh my gosh, that exercise was messed up, and it took me until Wednesday to clean it up. But it's cleaned up now. This will be cleaned up today because I just didn't finish. Because I spent so much time thinking what technology I could use to show the debits and credits. It took up too much of my time, and then I was like, just use a document. Okay, anyway. All right, so let's move on. So now we have a refund. We have to issue a refund, okay? We have to issue a refund because obviously having a gardener cut hair in hair would be a disaster, okay? So we're like, oh my gosh, forget this. We're just going to give you all your money back, okay? So to do that, we're going to click Plus New, and we're going to click Refund Receipt, okay? Notice it's called a receipt, okay? It's the opposite of a sales receipt, okay? So sales receipt, money at the time of sale, we get the money, and you get your stuff, and boom, okay? No delay in payment. Same with the refund receipt, okay? So this is not a credit memo where we're like giving them some kind of future thing. we are actually giving them the money back right now. Or I should clarify, because we have the same issue here that we do, like, are we just recording it or are we actually giving it back? Okay. If we have QB payments, we can actually give it back. If we don't, then we're just recording that we gave it back. Okay. All right. And super important distinction. Oh my gosh, so important. All right. So here, who is it going back to? It's going back to Amy. Okay. We're going to say the same payment method, ACH. It's going to come out of our checking account. Okay. Notice that because it's a check, or because it's coming from checking, QBO is automatically going to assume that we're writing a check. This is to, like, who made the point earlier, like, we can record checks or we can print checks. That's this print later. So that's like actually writing a check from QBO. That's in the gym, by the way. If you want experience doing that, it's in the gym, but we're not going to go over it today. So we're not writing a check. We don't have a check number. So we're just going to leave that blank. Okay. Now I want you to notice, let me just catch up with the instructions here. Okay. I want you to notice that on the refund receipt, you have to specify a product or service. You can't just randomly give customers money. Hey, here, Amy, here's $100. Okay. So you can't just do that. It has to be with a refund receipt. It has to be tied to a specific product or service. Okay. So what is the product or service? Well, that dang hair and haircut. Okay. All right. And what's the amount? We're going to do $123. We're going to give them all of our money back because, oh my gosh, it was a disaster. All right. Again, QBO is not doing the math, but look, it looks almost identical. Doesn't it look identical to a sales receipt? And it's just a refund receipt. Okay. It works the same way. So now we're going to click the black save button again. Okay, refund successfully issued. And now let's see what happened. Okay, so we're going to go back here. So what would we expect to see? Well, the checking account, we had money in the checking account, and now we don't. So it's going to go over here. The money that originally came from the customer is now going to go over here, and the money here is going to go over here. Okay. Now, sales tax. There is a whole module in the gym on sales tax. Okay. So just if you need more practice on sales tax, here's the thing about sales tax. So when you add money to a liability account, so all month long, adding money, or all quarter long, depending on what schedule you're on, all money's adding to that liability account. And then one day you're going to go and you're going to pay the government agency. And that's when you're going to take the money out of that liability account and you're going to pay that agency. Okay. That's how liability accounts work. Well, if this were real life, the liability account would still be affected, but it's possible that you could have already paid the $9.84 to the state, right? In which case, then you would have to have a credit of the sales tax the next time you pay, or right, the next time you do it. Okay, so, but if this is all happening in the same sales tax period, then it's just going to zero out and it's all going to be fine. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but some of you might have been thinking that and asking. Okay. All right, let me stop for a second and answer some questions before we take a look at it. Okay. All right, let me go back. Thank you for debits and credits. Yes. I'm going to be spending more and more time on debits and credits in the future because we talk to firm owners and businesses and realize that this is something that you guys really, really need to know. And so we're going to be spending more time on it. Okay. All right. So here is, if you have QB payments, is there a way to know if you are actually sending the money back or just recording it? Or would that be with the routing number? Can we refund in a separate way but still record the refund through a refund receipt? Yes. When you have QB payments, your little window there looks different. So I wouldn't stress about a hypothetical situation. When you have QB payments, you can see there's the little window there is different and you control it. By the way, another thing that if you have QB, notice how I can't show it now, but I had, usually we have the payment method and then the account, right? So we have the payment method is ACH and the account is checking. The payment method is a check and the account and the deposit to account is undeposited funds, right? Well, when you have QB payments, then the deposit to account is already encoded in that. So you don't have to actually select it like you saw me do. I can't show it to you. It's just it's a different interface. So you'll figure it out. Alex says the product service isn't haircuts. No, we called the product and service we called the service item Heron haircut. Okay. And then we called the income account haircuts. Okay. So I can go back and show you that again in a minute. And I named them separately, specifically so that you could see where they show up differently. We can go back and look at that. All right. So glad that that's helpful. Okay. Let's see. Is this the one or no? Is this the same one, Patricia? Oh. Yeah, I think you just typed it twice. I don't know what happened. Oh my gosh. Iris, what if a check was paid on an account and that payment bounced? Iris, clearly you were not on the live stream last week. That was the entire live stream last week. So go find last week's event and the YouTube video will be up shortly. So, because that was a whole thing. That was a whole thing. It's all good. It's all good, Iris. Okay, let's go back to our debits and credits. Okay. So, I thought I deleted it and edit. Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyway. All right. So let's go back to our debits and credits. Okay. So look, checking is over here. Why is it over here on the credit side when we said it's a debit? Okay? It's because it's the movement of the money, right? Do I need another? So maybe I need another, hold on. See, the more I explain it to you guys, the better I get at explaining it. So movement of money. Okay. All right. So this is the natural balance, and now we're talking about the movement of the money down here. Okay. And I can get rid of this. Okay. Okay. So the movement of money is going for the checking account. The money is moving back to the customer. The haircut, the service item, okay, is getting negative. We had an amount of money in our customer income, but now it's draining, it's going out, and the same is true of the liability account. It's going out, subtracting, going this direction. Okay, so this is the, again, you got it. This is the key. I'm telling you guys, this is the key, is if you remember, this is the line is 0. Go back to your childhood education. The line is 0. And if the money is getting bigger, it goes this direction. If it's getting more and more negative, it's going this direction. Okay? Can you see my hands? Okay. All right. So if we look at the transaction journal, then this is what we should see now, right? So let's look at it. Okay. So I'm going to click more. I'm going to click transaction journal. Okay. And then look here. Okay. And this is exactly what we would see. Okay. The checking account, even though that's a debit account, okay, it naturally lives on the left side. Money normally comes in, right? But now the money's going out, so that's why it's going this direction, okay? And this is the opposite, okay? So the money was there, and now it's not there anymore, and it's taken out of, okay? So the money was there for income, and now it's going out, okay? There's one more thing I want to show you. This is not in the exercise, okay? And I didn't think I would have time to go over it, but I see that we do. So I'm just going to go over this really quick. Okay. Should I? Because I need to get to the marketing prompt. Yes, I'm going to. Okay, I'm making the decision. Okay. All right. Okay, let me show you one more thing on our debits and credits chart here. Okay, let me take these out. Do I want to take them out? No, I'll leave them there. Okay. Okay. So this is credit is where the money came from. Debit is where the money went. Okay. Notice that income, I'll highlight this. Income and expenses are on what report? On what report do you see income and expenses? I'll give you a sec. What report? If you're going to run a report, yes, the P&L. Exactly, the P&L. Which means this liability right here, this activity in the liability, and the activity in the bank account are not going to be on the P&L. They're going to be on the balance sheet. Okay? So let's quickly take a look at those reports. I wasn't going to do this. I was thinking about separating it out into a separate lesson next week, but I think we can hit it quickly. Okay? So I'm going to go to reports. I'm going to go to the P&L. Okay? Look. There is no, we want services. Okay, here's haircuts. No activity in haircuts. That's not exactly true. If there were no activity, it wouldn't show up. But there is some activity. It's just that the activity resulted in 0. So what if we go to 0? If I click on that, look, money came in, money came out. Okay? And then the same is true. Okay, so that was the P&L. All it shows is the income. That's why I wanted to have it separate, so that you could see all of the services income compared to just the haircuts income. Okay? Alrighty, now if I go to the balance sheet, that's where you're going to see the activity for the checking account and for that liability, which is that board of equalization. Okay? So here's the checking account. If I click on it, shows me the details. Well, that's way too much. Let's just do today. I'm just going to hit there and hit T for today. There we go. Okay. So look, money came in the checking account, money left the checking account, and you can see it was the sales receipt and refund. Okay. The same is true for, just going to exit. For the liability account, Board of Equalization Payable, if I click that, let's just do today. Too much to sort through. Okay. Look, money came in, money came out. That means we no longer owe the board for that today. Okay? All right. All right. I think I've got it. All right. So that is our exercise for today. All right. Now, I still have this big announcement. Okay. But I think this was good. I think this is like what we should be doing. Like digging deep, wrapping our heads around it, like really getting it. Okay? All right. So, when you are a member of the gym and you get an exercise of the week, in addition to also just in the gym in general, you always get a marketing prompt, okay? So the reason that we include marketing prompts is because we had so many people say that, oh, I know I'm supposed to post on social media, I just don't know what to say, okay? So we're like, great, here's what you can say. And Joel's going to put this in the, for those of you who are have the exercise of the week, then you have it. If you are just joining us live, Joel will put it in the chat. Michelle asked, how do we handle it if the tax was paid over to the agency? I don't recall what you said. What I said was, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole today. So don't worry about it. You'll learn in the gym, there's a whole module on sales tax and paying the agency and making adjustments, and don't worry about that. But for today, don't worry about it. Here is the marketing prompt, which we're now calling QBO Quicktips. And it simply says, I know you hate to refund money to your customers, but sometimes it has to be done. Do you know how to properly record it in QuickBooks Online? It's surprisingly easy. You just need to know where to find it. Happy to show you. Okay, so that's our quick marketing prompt. And the question always becomes, how do you use it? So I'm just going to spend a few minutes talking about what we call the 3-2-1 method and how to use these marketing prompts in your to drum up, to find clients. I'm going to run through this presentation, and just note that I cannot see the chat while I'm in this. So I will answer your questions at the end. Okay, so to start off, this came from a company that I'm affiliated with called Bold House. Bold House is owned and run by Angelique Ruers, whom I've known for many, many years, and followed her work. And she primarily teaches how to sell your services to large companies. Okay, so Bold House you don't need Bold House. I don't want you to, I love her and I would love for her to make money, but you don't need to run out and purchase her stuff, okay? Because she is teaching people how to sell to Apple and GM and, ABC News Network, like giant companies. So, but so many of the methods, like the insight that she teaches, are applicable to us. And so with her permission, I have kind of distilled down some key points that she teaches that are applicable and useful for you. The first thing is that she talks about the concept of gold bars, not gold stars. Okay, and she actually, when she first started became a freelancer, she noticed that she herself was doing this, is that she would work all day and feel like she was working all day on things that were not actually making her money. Okay. So she's like, oh, I spent all day in a training, or I spent all day working on my website, or or I organized my desk, or, all these things that made her feel good, but she realized they weren't the actual things that were making her money. So if you want to make money, you have to do activities that result in gold bars, not the ones that are just gold stars. And the key thing that she says is that conversations create cash flow. Okay, so you should constantly be seeking a conversation. Ideally, a diagnostic review, right? But it is about actually talking to people. That's what's going to land you. That's what's going to land you clients. Now, note that she says conversations, not content. Okay, so people have this misunderstanding of, if I create a YouTube video, or if I create, write a blog, or if I post on social media or whatever, then that's going to land me clients. Those things are to get to the conversation. Those things themselves are not what lands you clients. It is that going to a conversation. Now, when you have conversations, you have to remember that only 1 to 3% of small businesses who use QBO are actually ready right now to buy your services. The majority of people that are out there and that you might talk to are not going to use your services. They're not, they're doing something else. They're too small, or they have somebody in-house already, or the owner's still trying to do it themselves, or not making enough money, or whatever. So let go of the idea that everybody is looking and that you just aren't good enough, or you aren't, smart enough, or whatever to land the deal. Recognize that the majority aren't looking for your services. Your goal is to find just that small percent of people that are looking. And I don't want you to get discouraged, because that, even though that percentage is small, the number is huge. There is a huge shortfall in the amount of accounting professionals, bookkeepers and accountants. There are simply not enough of them in the world to take care of all of the work that's out there. Okay, it is out there. Okay, but when you're talking to someone, your goal is to have a conversation with them, but you also have to remember that people need to know, like, and trust you before they hand over their books. Okay, money is a very sensitive and emotional thing. Okay, they're giving you their baby, they're bearing their soul, right? So you have to be conscious of that and recognize that it typically takes about 7 interactions with a person before they know, like, and trust you enough to open themselves up to you like that. Okay, now with that said, here is the Bold House methodology. We call it the 3-2-1 method for landing clients. Okay, so this first tier, the goal of this tier is to grow your network. Now, the chances of all of your clients coming from people that you already know is very, very slim. It happens. Like, people say, oh yeah, I'm doing the books for my best friend, it happens, but it's very unlikely that your clients are going to come from people that you know. Okay, so you have to make a conscious effort to grow the number of people that you know. And the best way to do that is to get an introduction, not a referral, an introduction. Okay, so 3 times per day in this 3-2-1 method, you're going to directly reach out to 3 people in your network. email them, call them, text them, DM them. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it's an individual person. You're not posting a flyer in your Chamber of Commerce. You're not sending an email blast or posting on Instagram and hoping somebody's going to see you, okay? You're asking 3 people, not for a referral. Why would somebody refer you? They don't know you. They don't know how good of a bookkeeper you are. It's not their job to market your business for you. You're asking for an introduction, okay? And the way you're going to get it is you're simply going to ask these 3 people, hey, you're going to say, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. And by the way, if you are not a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, oh my gosh, get one. It's so easy. We can help you in 5 hours. Joel will put the link in the chat. We can help you knock that out. Okay, so get that so you have your certificate, your expertise, your badge, like whatever. So you can authentically say, hey, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, and you're asking for an introduction saying, I post QBO tips every week. Who do you know that would like to receive them? Okay, so basically what you're looking for is you're looking for an introduction to, I'm going to say potential client, but I want to be careful with, you have to be careful with that term. When I say potential client, you want to meet somebody who is a small business owner using QuickBooks Online. That's it. A small business owner who uses QuickBooks Online. That's all you're looking for. You want an introduction to somebody who is a small business owner and QuickBooks Online. Now, hopefully, you are going to land 2 of those every week, okay? So you're going to reach out to 15 people in a week, and hopefully out of those 15 people that you're talking to, you'll find hopefully at least 2 people who are small business owners who use QuickBooks Online, okay? That's at a minimum. Now, when you meet those people who are quote potential clients, and by potential clients I just mean a small business owner that uses QuickBooks Online, okay? When you meet those people, you want to connect with them and you want to continue to strengthen that connection. Remember that 7 interactions, okay? So the way that you're going to do this is you are going to connect with them on LinkedIn. 2 times a week, connect to potential clients. Okay. You're going to connect with them in LinkedIn, and you're going to do this by saying, and by the way, don't use your phone to connect on LinkedIn. You want to use your computer, because if you use your phone, you can't include a note, okay? And you always want to I believe you should always include a note, because I appreciate a note, because I don't know who this person is if somebody connects with me on LinkedIn. But you can only on your computer include a note, okay? And so in the note, you're going to say something normal, human, friendly, and you're going to say, hey, I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. I post QBO quick tips every week. Would love to stay connected in case you need any help. Okay, you are not selling your services at this moment. This person does not know you. Does not know you. Do not try and take somebody to bed on the first date, okay? They don't know you. 7 times. They have to have some kind of positive interaction with you 7 times before you're even in their world of consciousness. They're not going to bare their soul to you and open up their books. Does it happen on occasion? Yes, but chances are they're not going to open up to you unless you have had some interaction with them, okay? So you're going to say, hey, I would love to stay connected in case you need any help. You're going to connect with them in LinkedIn. You want to make sure that your byline on your name says that it not only has your name, but it says you are a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. You want to put that in your byline. I recommend you don't say QBO because nobody knows what that is. You say QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, you put it in your byline, and that way, every time you do anything on LinkedIn, it includes your name and your byline. So it's constantly in people's memory. And this is when you're going to post your QBO tips, okay? You can post them directly from, just the text, but they don't stand out very well. And so it's a good idea if you know Canva or anything else to like make some kind of an image, with them. I know one student like plugs the marketing prompt into ChatGPT and creates a full article about it. So you could do that. You could do a video about that topic or whatever. Just the idea is you want to post a quick tip a couple of times per week. I'm going to recommend at least 2 per week that you're going to post because you want to provide value. But in addition to posting your own, you're going to like and comment on other people's stuff. Now, I want to be very clear. The people that you are liking and commenting on are the people who are potential clients. They are the small business owners using QuickBooks Online. I see a lot of people right now on LinkedIn, everyone's like liking and commenting on other people's stuff, but they're liking and commenting on other bookkeepers' stuff. Like, those are not your potential clients. Those are not the ones that need to see you all the time. You want to like and comment on the posts of the small business owners in your network. And when you do that, you want to be a normal, natural human being, okay? This is still not a time to vomit all over them with your services, okay? This is not the time to say, hey, I'm, a bookkeeper and I charge blah, 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 let's talk. No, you're being a normal, natural human being and you're commenting on whatever their post was, okay? If it's their kid at a baseball game, you're going to say, hey, nice stance, good job, kiddo, or, happy to see. Because what's going to happen is they're going to see your byline. You don't need to put an ad. You don't need to say it. You need to be a normal, natural, friendly human being, and they're going to see your byline to know, oh yeah, that's the QBO Pro Advisor. Oh yeah, that's the QBO Pro Advisor, okay? In general, you just want to keep waving your flag so that people know who to turn to when they need help, okay? And they will, if you're in their consciousness, then they will turn to you, okay? You want them, as I've already mentioned, to know, like, and trust you, okay? Now, chances are you're going to do this activity and all of this activity, and people are going to come knocking on your door. But if they don't, and maybe they don't, because only, 1 to 3% of people are ready, then you want to seek opportunities to demonstrate your expertise. And you want to do this at a minimum once per month. You want to do a diagnostic review. Now, if you don't know how to do a diagnostic review, we teach that in our cleanup course. Joel will put the link in the chat. But you don't have to use our diagnostic review or our cleanup course or whatever. There's tons out there. You just need to be able, remember what I said in the beginning, conversations create cash flow. So you just want to have a conversation with somebody. Oh, hey, would you like, one thing I thought of in the shower this morning is a health check. Would you like me to do a health check on your books? You just want to have the conversation. Would you be up for a conversation to see how you're doing? No obligation. Again, here's some text that you could say. I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor. Would you like me to take a look at your books and see how you're doing? No obligation. If you are one of our cleanup clients, you can say, maybe you can just add, hey, I just finished a course on diagnostic reviews and I'm looking for practice. But of course, you're not going to ask this of people until you've developed some kind of relationship, know, like, and trust. So they know who you are, so you're not just random. Okay? Okay, that is my speech for that. Now I will hop back into the chat and answer all of your questions, and then we're going to get out of here and go eat some lunch. Okay, let's see. How do you add a picture of your certificates on social media? I don't know. I'm not a social media person. I don't know. You just have the certificate. I mean, you go into the certification hub and you download, they give you a little link and it downloads your certificate as well as your badge for you to place places. And then you can put that on. I know in LinkedIn, there's like a section where you can add certifications. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Melissa says, where would you post that marketing prompt? You're going to post it in the in LinkedIn. We recommend LinkedIn. You can do whatever, but we recommend LinkedIn. You're going to post it there. As long as you are, I mean, you have to remember, you are always growing your network of potential clients. You're growing your network of small business owners using QuickBooks Online, okay? Constantly. All right. Let's see. Lindsay says you can download them to your computer and then just upload them to a post like you would any other social media. You can always use a screenshot too. Thank you, Lindsay. And Lindsay says any social media, especially LinkedIn. Okay. All right. Where do we find the marketing prompts? So if you have not subscribed, you're just in the locker room, you haven't purchased anything from us, then by being on the call live here today, then Joel, I assume, put it in the chat. Did you put it in the chat already? Maybe put it again, Joel. So that's how you get them, okay? If you are a subscriber, then when you are in the exercise of the week, they are right here associated with that. When you are in the larger gym, you actually earn them. So you don't just get like a whole book of marketing prompts. You have to actually demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. And then once you demonstrate that you know what you're talking about, then you earn the prompts. So they are here. It says, click here for some share what you know, click here for some sample posts. We do have we are having a technical issue right now where for some reason you cannot copy and paste them. You're supposed to be able to do that. I continue to bug the developers because it worked 2 weeks ago and then suddenly they did something and now it doesn't work that you can't just copy them. So you'll have to do it old school, read it or, retype it, whatever. Thank you, Joel. He just put it in the chat. Let's see. So that's where you get the marketing prompts. On the free LinkedIn account, though, you only have a few notes per month. I don't think that's true. I think you're talking about like an article or something. I'm just talking about putting it in your feed. LinkedIn.com. Okay. So if I go to, okay. So here I am. Here I am logged into LinkedIn. And you have an opportunity to add a post, just like you have a post in Facebook I don't know how anything works, but you just have a post. You can add a picture, add, whatever. I don't think this is a free account. I don't think there's a limit to that. I think what you are thinking of is like articles. Like if I go to my profile, I don't know. There's articles you can write. I don't know how it works, but I'm like 99.6% sure that you can write a post as much as you want, even on a free account. Okay, what Cheryl's asking, what is that link? I don't know what link you're referring to. I see. Oh, you answered the question already. Okay, Kristen is asking, will this method work if you're trying to work or connect with CPAs? Absolutely. Oh my gosh, absolutely. You're connecting with CPAs. You definitely want to say, hey, I'm a bookkeeper in the area. Just wanted to introduce myself. I'm a QuickBooks Online Pro advisor. Would love to stay connected. I post a couple of quick QBO Quicktips. Would love to stay connected. Okay. You don't want to immediately ask them to send you work. You don't want to immediately ask them for a job. You want to introduce yourself, get them to know, like, and trust you. Establish your expertise by posting QBO tips, like and comment on their stuff, and then and develop an actual relationship before you do any kind of an ask. Okay. Once they know you for a while, once you have developed that some kind of a relationship, that's when you want to reach out and you will say, hey, would love to meet one-on-one. If you're looking for a job, you can look at their firm, say, hey, do you have any job openings? Or, hey, do you do bookkeeping in your firm? Are you currently out, sending it to somebody else? And by the way, if they say yes, oh yeah, I've known Sally for 50 years and I send all of my bookkeeping work to her, then you go introduce yourself to Sally, because Sally is guaranteed to be overworked, have too much, there's so much work, guys. There's so much work. People have such a hard time finding a good bookkeeper. So you just have to, stay in their consciousness. Okay. Stephanie says, I post daily on LinkedIn. So I'm guessing, Stephanie, that you don't have a paid account. So, Cheryl says, what is the marketing link in LinkedIn? I don't know what you mean by that. I don't, when making a connect request with note, we are limited to 5 on the free LinkedIn account. Yeah, I think that's 5 per day, right? So yeah, you just have to not go bonkers. What is your LinkedIn account name? I am Margie Remmers-Davis. Actually, no, I am Margie-Remmers. My name is Margie Remmers-Davis, but my link says Margie-Remmers. Anyway, I am done. I'm done with the things that I see in the chat. So I hate that I waited, because I'm so excited about this. I hate that I waited until the last minute. For those of you guys who saw the newsletter this morning, that came out this morning, we talked about taking action. And there is and it's been on my mind lately, because I am such an action taker. I'm always like, go, go, go. And I see so many people not being action takers. And I see people asking for accountability, consistency, help to stay the course. Joel and I just recently, a couple months ago, joined a gym. And this particular gym comes with a personal trainer. You can't go there without a personal trainer. And oh my gosh, it has been so awesome. I love it so, I love it so much, because the person is right there telling me exactly what to do each step of the way, right? So, I'm still the one doing the work, but he or she tells me exactly. They come in, they have a little clipboard, and they're like, oh, hey, Margie, okay, you're going to be on this machine today, and the weights are going to be this, and whatever. It's it's so awesome. It's so awesome. And I see so many people in our community kind of wishing that we had some, that they could participate in something similar. And so I am so excited that we are starting a program starting October 1st. And it's going to be a 3-month program. Some of you guys are familiar with, we did a Getting Clients cohort. This was kind of inspired by that. And it was inspired by that, but we wanted to make it like deeper and broader and like really grab you guys and help you guys like get on the machine, right? And so we're calling it the G3 Intensive. And it's going to be 3 months. For the first month, we're going to be totally focused on helping you get certified, getting all your certifications, get all 3 of your certifications. If you have all of your certifications already and you want to, or you don't, I mean, you could do this all at once depending on how much time you have, and you really want a super intense experience, we're calling it G3 Max, then you can also add cleanup, and we're going to help you get all certified and get through the cleanup, including the final project, all in a month. Okay, that's the first month. I'm calling it G3 Intensive for a reason. It's intense. It's going to be intense. This is not for the faint of heart. These are for those of you who are SAMs, right? Those of you who are like, know that this is what you want to do, want the focus and the accountability, and you want somebody to stand over there and tell you exactly what to do. Okay, so month 1 is focused on certifications. Month 2 is focused on work experience, okay? So many people, they get their certifications and they say, and then they say, oh, well, I passed the test, but I don't actually know what I'm doing. Like, I don't actually know how to work on the books. Like, I don't actually know anything. And they can't get a job because they don't have experience. They can't get experience because they don't have a job, okay? So that's where the gym comes in. And you're going to get an entire year's worth of experience. Well, a minimum of 6 months. Again, depending on how much time you have, how hard you can work. A minimum of 6 months, but we're aiming for a year of experience using the QBO gym. Okay, so month 2 is going to be fully focused on getting you up to speed, getting a year's worth of experience in 1 month. Okay, and then month 3 is going to be a refined version of our current Getting Clients cohort. So now you've got your certs, you've got your experience. Now let's go out and get you. We're going to use these marketing prompts. You're going to learn how to use Canva. You're going to learn how to use LinkedIn. You're going to use these marketing prompts, and you're going to go out there and you're going to land conversations. Okay, so we're calling it the G3 Intensive. Get certified, get experience, get clients. Okay, or get ready, get set, and go. And it's going to be October, November, December. For those of you who want, some of you don't want that. Some of you want to just go at your own pace and do whatever, and that's fine. But I know some of you are also hungry for accountability and holding your feet to the fire. Okay, so that is coming up. All right, so this morning's newsletter, some were asking, where do you get the newsletter? If you are a member of the locker room, you are automatically signed up for the newsletter. Okay, so if you're on this call live right now, you are already subscribed to the newsletter. I mentioned that also in the beginning. It's the same as the agenda that I send every week, which I didn't today because I was busy, but I typically send the agenda email every way. We also have a newsletter. If you did not get the newsletter this morning, then we need to check your account. So write to support@fastandeasyqbo.com, and we will look in your account and see, maybe you typed your email wrong, maybe it's bouncing, like, who knows what's wrong. Maybe you're checking a different account than the one you gave us. There's all sorts of reasons why you wouldn't be getting the email, but we can, at support@fastandeasyqbo.com, we can go in and take a look at that, okay? And I have Melissa, must be new to be asking about who are the SAMs. So SAMs, and I don't think we have. Does anybody have access to that SAM video? I don't think I created a quick link for it. SAM was just shorthand for us serious about money. So I did a gift giving. Actually, maybe I can just find the video. So I did this birthday giveaway, and it was so popular. And I had people like making wishes, and I was granting wishes, and it became overwhelming for me. And so I kind of gave everybody a speech about, and I told the story of 3 different people who wanted to be track stars, and their actions that they were taking to become a track star. And we all agreed that Sam was the one, that if we were a fairy godmother and could grant Sam's wish, grant the wish of one of these 3 people, we would pick Sam. And Sam was a go-getter, and anyway, lots of things. I posted the video so you can watch it. But anyway, so that's kind of our internal, in our community, that's what we say. We talk about, like, are you a Sam? Like, are you getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and doing whatever it takes to be successful? That's what Sam did. Anyway. All right, that's it. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so that was Sam's. Okay, newsletter. Okay, let's see. How would this program work if you already have the 1 basic level purchased and have your certification already purchased, the cleanup program? That all of the details we'll have sometime next week. We'll have like all of the details, but there will be, there's an option for if you have purchased the certification already, and if you haven't, and if you have purchased the gym already, and if you haven't. So yeah, so we'll take care of you, Patricia. Okay, Veronica, interesting. So we've been going internally. Should it be the 3G or should it be G3? I'm calling it G3. And then internally we were like, should it be 3G or G3? And I thought, oh, isn't 3G like, isn't G3 or 3G like a speed thing? Wouldn't that be a good thing? And then Lindsay pointed out that, well, 5G has replaced that, so it's not that fast anymore. So I don't know. So should I call it 3G or should I call it G3? It is get clients, get experience. It's get certified, get experience, get clients. The G3. All the prices and everything will be published later. Okay, Melissa. I'm getting up at 5 a.m., doing my home QBO, then go to work, then come home and do my home neighborhood QBDT bookkeeping. I guess I'm a Sam. Sounds like it, Melissa. Yep, all the prices will be published later next week once we have everything ironed out. But yeah, it's going to be good if you guys are up for it. If you're up for the challenge, and there's no judgment if you're not. If you're like, nope, that's not for me, I got too much going on, I need to just focus on that, do my own thing, do my own pace, that's fine. It's only for people who are, serious and who want that like level of accountability and holding your feet to the fire. So G3, 3G does sound slow. Thanks, Teresa. That's what we were thinking. So anyway, all right, I think that's it. Guys, I think I have nailed everything that I see in the chat, although there is a delay, like I mentioned. So anyway, okay. How do I get to, here we go. Let me just think. Okay. All right, I think we're good. All right, folks. You guys have a fabulous weekend. I'm headed to Florida tomorrow. Woohoo! So Monday Mindset will be from Florida. Hopefully I'll remember to do it this week. But I will be back in time for hanging out with you guys next week. And we're going to keep pounding on the debits and credits. I know that I promised some e-commerce stuff. I don't think it'll be next week because I'm traveling and it's kind of a big, thing. Yes, have not stopped, Patricia. I have not stopped doing the Mindset Mondays. Just this week I forgot about it, and last week I did it on Tuesday, but I'm still doing it. Okay, so that's it, and you guys have a fabulous weekend. I can't wait to hear your success story.